Hello there, Qckslvrslash, and today we have another video courtesy of the old school gamer, this time the tier 10 Japanese destroyer, the Shimakaze. And it isn't going to be the only tier 10 IGN DD for much longer, but for the time being it still is, and it's actually getting a buff in the upcoming patch. Right now, detectability 5.9 full concealment. If I recall everything right, it's going to be 5.59 post-patch, really restoring its old role as the stealth DD that is capable of out-detecting pretty much everything else and keeping them spotted while remaining dark. And that was always the Shima's kind of original role, that and just throwing walls of torpedoes. And, well, once in a while, the two coincide quite well. You detect a lot of ships and get a lot of torpedoes at them. And right off the bat, old school gamer here, charging out. Now, playing on two brothers, standard battle, there's no drive for ships to get right into these middle areas. So you're going to see a lot of people go all the way out and around. And same on the other side. Doesn't mean ships won't push up the middle, just without the cap there, the destroyers aren't really encouraged to get in, meaning there's no incentive for old school to cut in early. It's going to serve him a lot better to continue out wide, both on a spotting front, but also just trying to get onto ships' sides. Enemy Izumo gets spotted along with a Yami, and, well, old school's almost got his torpedoes ready. Sadly, with where those two ships are, there's going to be islands in the way of kind of the ideal lead. Now the Izumo, if it keeps drifting the way it is, it's going to be in for some hurt. You can see old school choosing to send two of the volleys pretty much down the same arc. Now so far we're just over 2 minutes into this one, and there is an entire cluster of enemy ships stuck together, and that is the dream for a destroyer. And I can just say old school's about to start mining a whole bunch of tiers. This enemy team is not ready for what is coming their way. You can see the spotting plane up. I'm not sure whether or not it detected those torps, but either way, with that many ships, they just don't have the room to dodge. Like, that is just a cluster of steel, and you can see the torpedoes start arriving. And it's going to be a Hipper who's the first to detect them. He actually manages to slip through. That Yami, however, not looking nearly as lucky. The Montana behind her pretty much going to eat anything that doesn't hit the Yami. Torps just running out, but the Izumo, well, she's going to eat a couple from the second set, or maybe just the one. Some floods across the board, and 80,000 damage so far. Pretty healthy start to a match. And you can see pretty much the entirety of old school's team stopped behind the island, and it's always frustrating to see them. You can see them pinging. When you're in a group of ships and someone's pinging you, it's not like, hey, good idea, stay there. It's like, what are you guys doing? Get moving, get spread out. They're all sitting basically in the same smoke. You can see this Kagro. He threw his torps their way. Not sure if any will hit, but that friendly Qckslvrslash very hurt. Enemy Yami actually flooding out. The Izumo appears to still be flooding too. Old school picks up a Witherer. We're 4 minutes in, already up to 120,000 damage just because of these two battleships flooding out. Another set of torps in the water, two more still loading up. There goes an Izumo, up to 2 kills, has a liquidator, dev strike. Definitely a very happy start to a match. And these enemy ships are still kind of just chasing. Now that volley that was sent the Izumo's direction, they're not going to do much, but the Mogami sails right into a pair. 3 kills now, 133,000 damage, and we're not even 5 minutes into this one. And you can see the enemy team, they're starting to rage and chat a little bit. Tears are flowing. They had friendly DDs with them. The DDs were just not in front of the fleet. You saw the Kagero actually looked to have pushed up the middle, and that Fletcher sails right into a torpedo too. And these are the matches dreams are made of when you're in a Shima. You know, you'll have those games where you sail around, you get in front of the fleet, you've never been detected, you throw torpedoes in one thing or another, be it a friendly carrier, just incoming shells, make the ships you fired at turn before your torps can get there. That is not the case in this one. The enemy team basically just sailing into everything, and right now Old School is the only person in this game with kills, and he's got 4 of them. And this one's not done yet. Up to 151k, 6 minutes in. I mean, it's safe to say the game is probably done. It's going to be hard for the enemy team to come back from this. They do pick up a kill on the friendly Kerfers, but if you look at the far flank, their 3 ships over there are just on the run, and their Shima's not going to have the same kind of luck that Old School's had, simply because if you look at the Yugamo's position, it's hard for the Shima to really get torpedoes in the fleet's direction without the Yugamo detecting them first. And when there's no caps to contest, that's what you do in a DD. Get out, get in front of your fleet, detect things, torps, ships, whatever you see. It helps your fleet out. Means they don't eat a whole bunch of damage like this enemy group did, and it lets them do their job. The Martel absolutely eating a ton of damage from either the Musashi or Missouri there, pretty much finishing him off. And you can kind of just see, even as they lose a friendly ship there to one of the Kagero's torps, not a lot the enemy team's going to be able to do here. They've pretty much been pushed from their cap. The fleet over here is going to be pincered from both sides. The Charles Martel going down to the Musashi. There's the Kagero. He is not going to live long. You've got a Chipayev not too far behind you. The Musashi's there. A lot of interest in getting rid of this DD. And Old School Gamer, not too timid to use his guns. You see a lot of Japanese destroyer captains will sit there for eons trying to aim torpedoes. When they've got capable guns, you can definitely get kills with your guns. And you can see Old School just fanning the torpedoes out. The Kagero does get finished off by the Chipayev, which means these aren't going to be detected. They do technically have the range to get to the Bismarck, although it is unlikely that they get there, because you can see the Bismarck sailing away, the enemy team pretty much just on the run. This Hipper, he doesn't have a lot left, and you can see there's those Musashi shells going straight in for him. Are they gonna connect? They do not. The Hipper getting away with that one, but the enemy team is folded, and it's amazing how quickly that can happen, particularly at the hands of some of these high tier destroyers. And there's people who will say that the Shima is a one-trick pony, but it really isn't. It has its role, and a big part of that is going to come back with the next patch. Having that detection bonus, an advantage over the other destroyers, gives you that role of spotting DDs, and those enemy DDs are going to have to choose to charge you or try to run. The exception being the Yu Yang, which, well, if a Shima spots a Yu Yang, it means it's in the Yu Yang's radar, which almost brings a little extra purpose to that radar in random battles. It means the Yu Yang's not going to be able to get bullied by a Shimakaze. Because most of the destroyers, they hover around the 6 kilometer detection mark. You know, you've got a couple just under it, a couple just over, but that is generally where they are. So having the Shima down at like the 5-6 mark is going to give her a market advantage over the other DDs, and rightfully so. Her guns aren't as strong. She is not as good a gunboat. She can fight with her guns. They are punchy, but against an equally competent Cab, Gearing, Yu Yang, Zed, she just doesn't hold her own in the gun department. Now you can see the enemy team has pretty much been rounded up here, and they're just getting shot down from all fronts. It's gonna be hard at this point for Old School to get too much more damage on the board. The Hipper might sail into some torpedoes. That could be some final damage, but with the DeGrossa and Montana where they are, you're not going to have them sailing into your torp, so really your advantage or chance comes with this hipper. Fortunately, Old School does have the smoke. You can see the hipper basically going to be forced to turn and, well, eats a torp. So there's the Kraken, 167k. A very solid game, and it's amazing how quickly a lot of that came on right at the start of the battle. And, Yami and Ismo both flooded out. That says something. I don't know if they just basically went, screw this, I'm done, or what, but you'd think their damage control would have come back. That Ismo is definitely burning in a few places too. Anyways, this slaughter is just about over, so let's jump to the post-battle screens. And in this game, you can really see why people dislike the Shima, but at the same time, all that damage came as a result of the enemy team kind of playing like fools at the start of the match. You cannot group up like that because you just remove the ability to turn away. Old School Gaming definitely got the most out of it though. 652,000 credits, Dev Strike, Kraken, Liquidator, Wither, First Blood, 169k damage, and that's only over 7 torpedoes. And a big part of that is the Yami and Izumo both flooded for the entirety of their duration. So it should come as no surprise in that game that Old School is top of the team, and I think you're going to see the Shima start to do a little better. 7-4 is here now. The Shima's back down to being the stealthy little boat it once was. Power Crept kind of slowly took that away from her, and the Asasio is here, and that's going to ruffle some jimmies too. If you're in a battleship though, you just have to play smart. And early on, you can't sail in straight lines. Use islands to provide cover from those incoming torps. When you pass behind the island, slam the brakes on for a second. That way you're not sailing out past the edge of an island into where torps would be. It's kind of common sense stuff that people just don't always grasp. Anyways, end of the day, took home 419,000 credits, 3,600 experience, and a fun game. Thank you very much, Old School, for sending this one in. I very much enjoyed watching it. It's fun just to watch that many torpedoes hit, because it doesn't happen every game. I hope everyone else enjoyed it. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing to the video. And I am going to be streaming a lot of ranked now that the season is here. Just share my grind with everyone. Anyways, see you there.